Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lost Planning the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. And boy, we have a doozy tonight. We have a doozy tonight because this one involves me, of course. Of course, this is the big update in the ongoing retarded legal fight between Montegraph and me. And it is full of drama and intrigue and mostly just waiting because the law takes a long time. You have a couple different ways, of course, of doing different lawsuits. And most of the time, though, it's hurry up, get a bunch of shit filed and wait and wait and wait for the other party to file, for you to respond, for the judge to answer. And in between, there can be a lot of back and forth. There can be a lot of motion practice, or there cannot. In our case, there's not so much. So it's mostly about waiting and waiting and waiting. And boy, it's been a while. I think it was April 10th. April 10th, I think, was the hearing date. Was it May 10th? I think it was April 10th, which would make this about 90 days out, which of course is kind of how some of these things go. But we finally have an order. It dropped yesterday. Now, plenty of people have talked about it already. I don't know what any of them have said. I know what I have said. I know what my review of it is roughly going to be after skimming through most of it. We're going to read all of it on stream from start to finish, which is kind of what I do when we actually are following a case intently. And of course, like, I would not want to skip out anything in my own case. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll go through the whole thing. I'll give you my opinions as a preview. This is, it's not the best result, obviously. I would want this thing gone because it's a frivolous lawsuit. It's obviously been frivolous the entire time. And we'll get into the reasons why it's frivolous, of course, in just a little bit. But there are some interesting things about this order. And, there's a bunch of people who are out there, he lost or whatever. And sure, have that opinion. But this is also basically the judge saying, sorry, this motion is premature, and refile it at the close of discovery. Now, I have several disagreements with that statement. And there's a logical issue with the reasoning for waiting until discovery is closed, which we'll talk about to that spot in the lawsuit. But if the judge is going to determine that it needs to wait till discovery to close, then it's going to probably need to wait till discovery to close. There are options at this point. There is an interlocutory appeal because, of course, this denies pretrial relief that should maybe exist before. Interestingly, because a system designed by lawyers and perpetrated by lawyers exists and lawyers like money, running that appeal probably would run a similar cost to discovery and would risk delaying the case even further. And possibly, if it's unsuccessful, then you've got the issue of, well, now you paid for the appeal and you still have to do discovery. So what to do next is a big question. I don't know the answer to that. If I did, I probably wouldn't say it online before anything was filed anyway. But, so I'll talk about the different options there are, but I can't tell you what I'd choose because I have no reason to choose at this point. We don't even know how long discovery is going to be. And there's an interesting aspect to the discovery specific to this case, which is laid out in the order, which indicates that that is a very, very important facet of how this will go. But again, we're going to get into all of that in this. The judge has some very interesting statements in the order that I agree with and are actually quite favorable to our case ultimately. So, here's a thing that people tend to do. They tend to gauge their impressions of a lawsuit's progress based on the perception of the person, the party to the suit. And that's just the nature of things. We either want people to be in fault or not in fault, or we want people to win or lose. And so we decide that that's going to happen. The legal system doesn't work that way, right? The legal system works on this very interesting principle of a judge who tends to know very little, usually, about the actual parties involved. And that's the ideal, is that the judge doesn't know them at all. And then they take in admissible evidence and judge based on that. And then you have human conditions of judges and lawyers, what the lawyers choose to include, what points they choose to argue, what strategic and tactical decisions they make in all of this. And then you have the other function where the judge has to decide which way to go. Judges get things right and wrong all the time. And sometimes they're big enough to appeal when they're wrong. And other times they're things you just got to roll with. It's all a question of a whole bunch of different factors. But this is the internet, and people are going to say any number of things, and that's fine. But let's get a couple things out in the open. And this is something that's been going on from the very, very start of this lawsuit for me personally, which is several people seem to have the wrong idea of what a defamation suit defendant is and what a defamation suit's defendant roles and goals can be. So we're going to lay those out because I think it's critical based on the types of emails, the types of messages that get sent to me about Montegraph for people to understand just what is happening in this lawsuit for me. Montegraph is a consummate, gross weirdo with a penchant for threatening people online, up to including threatening killing multiple people, myself included in that, because he's a fucking weirdo. Like, you have to understand that that is who Montegraph is. He has a reputation for being a weirdo. In fact, pretty much everything I've said about Montegraph is based on his existing reputation, along with a couple jabs about him being a fucking weirdo. So all of that baked in, I understand that Montegraph is a menace to people online. These are the bulk of messages I have received, including phone calls from very terrified people who are literally afraid to give details, who are afraid to put their names on paper, but say that they will because they're actually afraid that Montegraph and some of his friends will murder them based on allegedly, and this is alleged, I can't verify this, but this is what people have told me, that they know people that Montegraph and his group of friends in the past have, say, driven to suicide. They call me out of concern that he will drive me to suicide. I'm like, Montegraph isn't going to drive me to suicide. He's a fucking retard. How could he do that? But that's that. Montegraph and his friends seem to have preyed on people who are prone to engaging in conspiracy theory. And when people engage in conspiracy theory and then some dope on the internet shows up talking about secret government information and like calling government officials on their home phones through whatever means he acquired them, they think that he might actually have some connection to cause them harm or undue pressure or stress or government action against them. Remember, they're engaged in conspiracy theory already, so they give extra credence to his threats and also extra credence to their importance in uncovering a secret government scheme. This is this weird hybridization of the internet, of people who are impressionable to various personalities, and how things work out with parasociality and all of that. So I have got it. I understand that Montegraph is a menace to all of you who have ever called me, who have messaged me, or whatever, asking me to personally somehow get Montegraph removed from the internet or arrested or extradited to, I don't know, Bulgaria or whatever by the government because I'm now in a legal battle and the judge can do that. But that's not reality. That's not a thing that happens. And it's not what a defendant in a defamation lawsuit is geared up or equipped or even as a realm of possibility of doing. I cannot in any way enjoin Montegraph from the internet as a defendant in a defamation lawsuit. No matter how many times he's threatened to kill you or me or Jack from Twitter or anybody else and an unhinged lunatic rant, I can't do that. The other thing that's really interesting about this case is, of course, all of the things that I'm alleged to have said about Montegraph, I believe are all recorded in public. And so there's this other portion of it where, like, Montegraph, his case against me doesn't really involve any extra information. All of it's there. And so there's this weird rumor going around that I'm taking down videos or something of me talking about Montegraph, which I don't know why I would, because all of the claims are in the complaint, and all of them except for, I think, one video or on my channel. The only one that I could think of would not be that's in the complaint is the one from Megan Fox, which I think is still up on her channel, at least on her Rumble channel, because I think that's where we were. But I don't remember. I don't think she was on YouTube at that time. But either way, it makes no sense for me to do that. So that is one of these things where someone needs me to be more of a villain for their own masturbatory purposes. I don't know what those are, but there's no reason for me to take anything down. I haven't denied, I don't think, anything that I've said or that I'm alleged to have said. I'm pretty sure they're all direct quotes from recorded live streams, which are all still up. It's just a very weird accusation. Now, allegedly, and I don't know, I can't verify this, but allegedly, Drummer, who has talked about Montegraph in the past and specifically has chronicled some of Montegraph's maybe less civil rants about wanting to murder people or whatever, he is receiving privacy takedowns from somebody. Now, presumably that would be Montegraph. I don't know if it is or not. I can't verify who sends a privacy complaint to whoever. But there's certainly no benefit in me taking down an unhinged rant of Montegraph. That doesn't make any sense. That would only be beneficial to me if this thing were to go on further. Now, there is a party that it is specifically beneficial to, but I'm not sure what videos I'm supposed to have taken down. All the videos I've ever recorded involving Montegraph are all up. And all of the archive videos, I believe, are also up. But I have no idea. So whoever has some weird fantasy about me doing that, okay, I guess. We'll see. It doesn't make sense. But so the role of a defendant in a defamation lawsuit is to do a couple things. To either deny that the statements were made, or two, to present whatever information that the statements are not defamatory. Either they can't be defamatory by law, or they didn't cause damage, or they can't cause damage, they're protected opinion. You know, there's any number of reasons why a statement might not be defamatory. So you either have to deny that the statement exists or deny that the statement is, fits the four elements of defamation. So my legal strategy is based on the second version of that, not on a denial of what happened. But the role of a defendant in a lawsuit is not to actually, how do I word this? There are people who want me to uncover dark truths about Montegraph. That's not how defamation defense works. Because your defense of your statements, if you made them, right? Some people allege things that weren't said. But if you are defending statements that you made, your defense of your statements are based on the knowledge that you had at the time. So to try and uncover some secret from Montegraph's past now would be irrelevant to the statements I made back in October of last year. So it's a critical misunderstanding that some people seem to have about how defamation defense works and all this stuff. It's like, oh, if you could just uncover this. Like, well, no, all of the statements I made about Montegraph are defensible based on what I knew about Montegraph at the time. And again, so just like, again, for people who are very politely sending me stuff and encouraging me to do whatever, like Montegraph isn't my dragon to slay. His defamation accusations are my hurdle to deal with. Someone else gets to go slay the dragon. I don't really fucking care. And the other thing that people need to understand is that outside of when like an order comes in my case or filing comes in my case or Montegraph is brought up by someone, I don't think about this guy. He doesn't exist. And he didn't for the most part between when I talked about him with Jim a couple times after that. And then for 2-3 years, like he didn't exist until he popped up again. And then he went away and he didn't exist until he sued me. And then he goes away between filings. This is not some guy that like I'm considering or pondering. He's a non-existent thing to me, as most people and things are. Like, let's be honest, I'm a self-absorbed asshole. So like, I'm not thinking about most other people unless they're directly in my attention. All of my bandwidth pretty much goes into building the nightly show. And since it's based on typically current things and current events and concepts, it's being updated daily. And then it goes into, having to deal with my kids' schedules. What does my wife need? What do I need to do? Are we seeing her parents or my parents or anything like that? What family stuff is going on? That's where my attention goes. So like, if you're not in that chain somewhere, you're likely not remembered. And that's not personal to you. I'm just kind of like that forever. As I've stated before, my dad said this once, and I realized how true it was for me. I've been working on it, but it's a hard thing to overcome. He says, when I get introduced to people, I hear my own name, meaning he doesn't hear theirs, right? It's like, hey, this is so-and-so. You hear your own name. Hey, Nick, this is so-and-so. Oh, hey, what's up? And often I hear their name as just some sort of blab or, Charlie Brown teacher or whatever. That's just how it's been. I guess, again, self-absorbed. But I'm working on that. It's a hard skill to like work or to build, believe it or not. But anyway, that being said, I don't think about much of this shit at all between stuff. That's why I hired a law firm to do it. And so again, any criticisms you have of any filings, please file with the complaint department of Mark Randazza. It's all his fault, Randazza. So anyway, all sorts of fun going on. But that being said, you have to go through the process. This is one other thing, and again, we'll get into the filing in just a second. There's one other thing people seem to misunderstand about lawsuits. There is no button to make something happen. It doesn't matter how frivolous or meritless something is. There is no thing where you go bloop and just turn it off. Like, here, judge, look, this is retarded, and they just do it. Like, there's no get out free button. It's a really, really crippling facet of the justice system in general, is that once you stand accused, there are remedies that come later for maybe something being brought frivolously. And those remedies are a maybe. But there isn't a way to mitigate the amount of fuckery you have to go through up to that point. There just isn't. So people are like, well, why? I mean, people have been asking for months, like, why is this still going on? It's like, well, I mean, you can't make a judge rule on something prior to them writing their ruling. And you can't make the motion practice not involve a filing of a motion, a response, and then a reply to the response. Like, that's just how it goes. There's no speed up button on that process. There's no shortcut out of it either. So that's the way these things tend to happen. And if you want an example of someone who suffered from tons of frivolous lawsuits and had to go through that process, just ask Josh Moon. the owner of Kiwi Farms, who's dealt with insane people suing him for years now. There's no way to stop him. It's beautiful. It's a great system, entirely fucked up. And again, there is occasionally remedies, but the person who sues you has to not be a complete fucking deadbeat. Whether or not that happens, well, luck of the draw, I guess. So here we go. Let me find this filing, and we'll get right into it. I don't know exactly how long this will take. You never know. The order's only like 8 pages, but it's 8 pages of legalese, and it will require some. We will have some discussion about it. Can I get rid of this fucking sidebar? Can we just do that? Hold on. I think I've got to. I don't want all this. Oh, here we go. There, perfect. It'll have some commentary with it. After that, I've got some stuff to maybe say about the FTC ruling and shit like that. And we'll kind of just go through what else is going on. FTC ruling specifically, and Microsoft versus Activision, which I think is a really, I think Microsoft suffered a completely fucking pointless lawsuit there as well. And that's just how it goes for them too. But we'll get into that. And then there's some other stuff going on with, again, this battle over judicial ethics, which I find very interesting. Oh, one other thing. If you didn't happen to catch my interview with Phil Labonte from All That Labonte from All That Remains last night, it was I thought a rather excellent interview. It was a lot of fun. Really cool dude. Really chill discussion. It was the second episode of my series called Direct Examination, which is a free form interview between me and someone else. There's no chat interruptions or interaction for the first 2 hours. We just talk back and forth, and I ask basically very open-ended questions, and I get cues from what they say to what they might be interested in that I'm also interested in. And we go down tangents and rabbit holes and talk about, what our various passions are, and, and what life stories there are to learn from this person. I love the interview. I had a great fucking show with him. It was a lot of fun. And I would encourage people to check that out. Also, the first episode was the one with Ed Greenwood, and the full episodes are up on Rumble. You can watch the first hour, of course, of each of those on YouTube. But I would encourage you to watch the full thing over there on Rumble. Okay, so with that said, let's hit these early super chats. There's some huge ones that I'm not trying to ignore. I just want to get my monologue and my thoughts out of the way without like frying my brain with ADD and jumping back and forth. We'll get those and read those, and then we will go ahead and we'll hit this document. All right, here we go. None Your Business says, "Hey, Nick, sorry to bring down the mood, but I was hoping you could do a toast to my nephew. He died today in an accident just before graduating from boot camp. All he wanted to do in life was go into the Army, serve his country, and become a Ranger. He will be missed." Holy shit. Of course. None Your Business. Very, very fucking sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. So here we go. All right. None Your Business to your nephew. A man who died tragically, young, well before his time, in an effort to serve his neighbor, to serve his country, to serve himself, making himself a person worthy of praise and of respect. Of course, we know that in the effort of self-betterment, respect is earned immediately as someone attempts it. May your family remember him fondly. May his friends remember his influence. And may all those he would have helped miss his presence. Cheers to him. DMR Wade says, hey, Nick, I need some urgent legal advice. Any way I can contact you privately? Probably. I mean, you can certainly contact me privately. I don't know that I'll be able to help you in any way. It really depends on a whole lot of factors. Like where you are, what state you're in, all of that stuff. If I can even give you legal advice, if I have knowledge of the subject, all of that. But you could certainly try. My office number is public. I'm going to be busy most of tomorrow. You can email me as well, and I can try and grab it, but I can't make any promises. Tom Grohl with another huge chat. Thank you so much. Says, Nick, it looks like I will not be able to make Nashville. I'll send the bottles, I promise. Only question is, would you like your logo or family tree engraved on a barrelhead? Yeah, that sounds cool as shit. Yeah, man. Holy hell. Yeah, if you want to contact me and talk about that, that's fine. I think we've talked before. I've got you in my phone, maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, certainly would appreciate that very much. It sucks. I'm not gonna be able to go to Nashville. We need to talk about that because I think, yeah, I'll talk to you about that as well. Phoenix S. Hope says, hey, Nick, I sent a chat last week about proposing to my girlfriend. I'm happy to say she said yes. I'm sad to say that my brother found out from that last chat. So F you, Simon. Get your ass up and go to work. Yeah, fuck you, Simon. Damn. Catslave 56 says, my birthday was on the 8th. Have a great Propel on me. This is the one day I don't have Great Propel down here with me. Damn it. I've got the Monster tea, and I've got a protein drink, and I've got whiskey. Shit. But I will have one probably when I go to bed. So, or maybe on the locals after stream. Figure it out. Anyway, thank you, Catslave 56. Also, happy birthday. Okay. Oh, and we got one on locals from Malik Fox. And let me grab this one real quick. Damn it. Here we go. He says, saying this in advance, howdy, Nick's legal team. We appreciate you, even though we all probably make you want to pull your hair out. But seriously, thanks, y'all. I don't know if you should thank them. Everybody but Mark. Marsupial Gamer says, FYI, there's a court date of 9/11 set for pretrial conference in the Peggy Poulter versus Vicky Dean EVF defamation case, where only Dean is required to appear in person. Funniest outcome is always the most likely. Well, you know, there's a lot to unpack in that statement because I believe EVS gave both Dean and Vicky the opportunity to jump onto his stuff and they refused it or something weird. I think EVS got out of that case entirely and has a separate case in a different jurisdiction now. And I need to check on that. I don't remember where it is. Maybe I should invite EVS on the show. We can talk about that. We can talk about Cyberprog 3, which of course he just announced his Indiegogo for. So Ethan's always he's always a good stream mate. He's always fun to talk to, and he's always got crazy shit going on. So that would be good to figure out. Okay, so here I go, or here we go with this. Where is this? Oh, that's why. What the fuck is this window? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh my God. Okay, so this is, of course, this is Steve Quest versus Nicholas Rekieta and Rekieta Law LLC defendants. All right, so here we go. Here's the order. So there's the order, and it's followed by the judge's memorandum, which has the judge's reasoning for the order. So we've got Robus Delirium says, hey, Nick, don't know if you recall, but a while ago, you shouted at a channel called Crack in the Box. Unfortunately, 3 days ago, Corey passed away. Can we get a toast for young Captain Corey? Oh, yes. My bad. I did see this. It happened on Monday, and I wasn't streaming. And again, my brain immediately moves through stuff. So, yes, Crack in the Box is a young child who's terminally ill named Corey. If you remember the story he talked about, he loved Johnny Depp. This is during the Depp trial. His channel blew up, and he passed 100,000 subscribers. Then YouTube deleted his channel. They thought it was related to fraud or something like that. It's just just this poor kid, and all he wanted was a silver play button. There was a huge Twitter campaign from people saying, hey, YouTube, what the hell? Like, all this kid wanted was a silver play button. You know, it was kind of like, unfortunately, it was like a dying wish. It was really, really sad. And then he did end up getting it. YouTube restored his channel. I think Susan Wojcicki or whatever even like commented on it before, or when before she was replaced by whatever weirdo's CEO now, and stuff. And they did try to make it right, which was a nice thing for YouTube to do. But yes, I did hear it went around social media on Monday. He did pass away. Johnny Depp put a tribute to him up on his Instagram page. Very nice stuff for, that's just a kid, man. And sick kids are really, really hard to deal with, because like, not only do they sometimes pass very young, but they don't get to live that life because the illness impacts their life, even the short amount of time that they have. So it's really, really awful to see, but hopefully to Corey, Captain Corey, may he be free from pain, suffering, doctors, stress. May he be treasured in the time his parents got to spend with him, the time he got to spend with them. And may he rest knowing that he achieved a goal that many, many have and many will never, ever attain. And that is to be loved by a community of hundreds of thousands of people for just being himself. Cheers to Corey. Oh, sorry. Kids getting hurt really, it sucks. As a parent, that's like, you can be immune to pretty much anything in the world. You can be one of the most jaded, offensive, cynical people ever. But, the thought of loss of your children is it's devastating. And it's, it changes you having kids. Like, that aspect. You can still be a piece of shit everywhere else, but that aspect, it really does. It affects you, Katza says, should have had Uncivil Kurt do this case review, starting with the catchy learning from the misfortune of Rekieta. So apropos. Yes. Thank you. I mean, Kurt is welcome to review this order as well. He may agree or disagree with me on various points. That's fine. That's the interesting thing about law that people often, again, even lawyers misrepresent or misunderstand, is that this is a profession based entirely on disagreement. And if done properly, the disagreement isn't personal to the lawyers or the parties or anything like that. The disagreement is on principles of law, readings of things, impressions. If you didn't have disagreement in law, there wouldn't be any reason for court. You wouldn't have to have someone as an arbiter of what is the right and wrong answer. So, but yeah, so I, of course, welcome anyone's opinions on this. Like I said, that's the nature of being the internet. Okay. Tim Christ. Damn. Oh my God. I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. Here we go. So this is the order and memorandum. This special motion to dismiss came for a remote hearing before Judge Jennifer K. Fisher on April 10th, 2023 at the Candioi County Courthouse in Wilmer, Minnesota. Attorney David Schneider appeared on behalf of plaintiff Steve Quest, and attorney Mark Randazza appeared on behalf of defendants Nicholas Rekieta and Rekieta Law, LLC, collectively Rekieta. Based on the files, records, and proceedings, it is hereby ordered. Defendant's special motion to dismiss count one of the amended complaints denied. Oh no! Rekieta on life support. True. I am on life support. Please help me. Unplug it. Just unplug it. Defendant's special motion to dismiss counts 2 and 3 of the amended complaint is denied. Parties may move the court for summary judgment upon completion of discovery. Fun times. Again, we'll explain that in a little bit more detail and why I specifically disagree with this ruling of the judge. Now, before anybody gets weird and is like, Nick, you shouldn't talk about this. Blah, blah, blah. Don't talk. I'm not disrespectfully disagreeing with the judge. I'm respectfully disagreeing with the judge. I completely disagree with this part of the ruling and with the denial of the complaint for the reasons that I disagree with, or the denial of the motion to dismiss and summary judgment, for the reasons that I disagree with this whole thing. And it has to do with what discovery is for and the role of parties in discovery. But that being said, my disagreement doesn't amount to shit. It's the judge. That's the way it goes. So I can disagree all day. And again, the remedy for disagreement, if I wanted to, would be to move for an interlocutory appeal and go after that part of the ruling. Is that worth it? I don't know. That requires a lot of discussion and analysis with my attorney. And the remedy of that may not be better than going through discovery anyway. And we're going to talk about why. This is the important part of that. We'll talk about why it may not matter. All of that's, like, I'm open to discussing it. I just can't tell you what I'm going to do because I have no idea yet. The attached memorandum shall be incorporated into this order. Okay, so this is just what happened. Why it happened comes next. George Manzer says, hi, I'm from the enforcement arm of the ADA. Currently, you are in non-compliance with ADA policy. This is a warning. Further non-compliance will result in us having used the powers endowed to our agency via Chevron versus NRDC. No, don't give me another retard. I have too many. I can't stop it. I can't. There's so... Please, ADA. The government is good. Hunter Biden's innocent. Joe Biden is not dementia-riddled. All administrative decisions are correct. The Supreme Court's entirely corrupt. Hey, what's up to my man Joe Good Logic and his wonderful, wonderful chat who are rating the stream. I love you. I respect you. Thank you for joining me. This stream's all about me, which everything in the end is all about me, right? Like have you guys figured that out yet? There's a line from a Swecco song for all you old fags in the chat. For all you old people in the chat who listen to classical music like me, you are familiar with Swecco. And the first line of a song, Paralyzed, I'm gonna gender transition it, but the original one is she. I'm gonna say he. He got a big ego. You can see it from a telescope. Oh, and I want to clear something up here, because some people might be offended that I use the word retard. I'm going to quote the philosopher Michael Scott. See, I would never call a retarded person retarded. That's horrible. I call my friends retarded when they're acting like retards. Just, again, I got to clear that up. That is, it's 2023. You got to be very, very careful about this stuff. So, all right. All right, here we go. So back to this. God, I miss the 90s, guys. I just miss the 90s. I want to go back. Memorandum. This is a case for defamation, as well as both intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Quest claims that Rekieta made false defamatory statements about him over the course of 6 videos between October 2022 and January 2023. He asserts that in these videos, Rekieta insulted him using coarse language and slurs. Maybe slurs. And that Rekieta called him a pedophile. Did I use the word pedophile? I know I said sucking little boys. Well, anyway, Rekieta moves to dismiss on the basis of Colorado anti-SLAPP legislation, claiming that Colorado law is more substantially related to Quest's claims and that his lawsuit is frivolous, intended to chill Rekieta's speech. Now, this is an interesting facet of this decision. In that, I was not familiar with this sort of theory, this method of going after a different jurisdiction. Like, I'm familiar with conflict of laws and, the ability to bring in the laws of another state into a forum based on claims that pertain to the other forum. But I had not considered this as a possibility. This is Mark Randazza, whose firm has done this in other jurisdictions and prevailed. So it was interesting to see it as a legal argument that was proposed in my case. Certainly. And this is why, this is part of hiring someone who's an expert in the field is they do things like this. And they've actually had experience and success with this type of strategy in other cases. Didn't work out in my case. Sucks, because it would have been cool if she did that. And that's dependent on a couple factors. Is the judge willing to apply another jurisdiction's law? Are they familiar with bringing in other jurisdictions' law? Do they make the correct analysis on it? Now, here's one thing I'm going to say about the judge. I wish she would have applied the Colorado anti-SLAPP in my case. Of course, it would have been a much more beneficial and swift outcome for me. Can I disagree with her analysis on this? No. I can't, because this is not something that I have legal experience in fighting. Now, I can disagree with it based on the premise that my lawyer raised it and I prefer and think his argument is a better argument for the outcome, but I'm biased there, right? It would be beneficial for me for my lawyer's reasoning to prevail versus Schneider's reasoning. Absolutely. But I can't actually objectively say what it should be in this case and that I disagree with her on principle of some legal standing. I can't divorce myself from my own bias. To me, Mark Randazza's argument was more logical about why Colorado anti-SLAPP should apply and why Minnesota's lack of anti-SLAPP should not. With that being said, very, very biased. So I'm going to divorce myself from the legal analysis there. Like, I can go through the analysis, and she does in the order, and I could say, well, I disagree there. But as to what the result should be, can't do it with being objective on this one. On some other stuff, I could certainly be objective about it. And, but on this one, I can't. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, she's wrong. I mean, I want her to be wrong. If we appealed it, this would be part of it. And this is why it's one of the big things I have to consider in this appeal is, so to break it down, if we appeal it and win on this issue, then it has to be done under the Colorado anti-SLAPP standard. Extremely beneficial for me. I automatically win fees back. Now, do I get those fees? No, but I get a judgment. I get a judgment that I can warn everybody else with on fees, and that's a pretty cool thing to have. It's a nice tool in the arsenal. But will I collect those fees from Montegraph? Probably not. The guy doesn't have, by all the current evidence, he doesn't have anything to take. And that's the big problem with America's legal system right now, is it doesn't matter if you have something like an anti-SLAPP or a fee shifting arrangement. If the plaintiff doesn't have anything to lose, then they can just file lawsuits all day. Look at, what's his face? Who sued Taylor Swift? Why can't I, the mouth? His name. I haven't talked to Russell Greer. Look at Russell Greer, Melinda Scott. You can win fee awards against them all day. There's nothing to take. These people will likely never amount to anything unless they were to win lotteries. Montegraph is even worse off because he's old. So he doesn't have he's not like 25 with nothing. A 25-year-old with nothing, you get a judgment. I mean, they may eventually get a job. They may become profitable. Who knows? Montegraph's I don't know, 93, 94 years old, something like that. It's a joke, Monty. We all know. Y'all know you're under 18, which is your defense. Shit. Am I allowed to joke about that? Can I even joke anymore? I don't know. I don't know. My speech is chilled. Anyway, Winston Smith says, how much of this opinion did the law clerk write? I don't know. So we're in a very small county. And one thing about very small counties is the clerks don't do as much opinion writing as in bigger counties. They really don't. They tend to only have one clerk. And so they don't do as much. In bigger counties with, bigger judges, you'll have several clerks that are working on stuff all the time. They're churning through cases. Out here, it's not like that. So I have no idea. I have no idea. But typically, yeah, you would have judges have clerks write a big portion of the opinion, a lot of the boilerplate stuff, and then they add some specifics or they'll tweak it or review it and stuff like that. I can't say on this one. I don't know. But seriously, the county seat of our county, the big town, to give you an idea of how little our county is, the big town is 21,000 people. And the total county size is something like 50 to 70,000 people. It's like it's our whole county is not even the size of a suburb of a city, of a metro area. So when we're talking about scope of encounters in a courtroom, you have to understand just how small this county is. I live in the middle of fucking nowhere. So okay. Let's see. Shit. Giacchino, are you losing focus? You need Addy, a 100% plant-based stimulant to get your attention back without side effects. Visit addyproducts.com. Enter promo code NOSE for a discount with your order today. Wait a minute. Did you just super chat an endorsement from me? I'll take it. What the fuck is Addy Products? That sounds like Adderall. Or maybe it's ADDY. Send me an email. If that's a real thing, send me an email. I have no idea what that is, but I'd be interested. Again, a couple people in my family with ADD, me undiagnosed, but almost definitely. I'd be interested in something to improve focus for sure. I have Provigil. I don't take it very often because you want to know the secret about Provigil. I like it a lot. When you take Provigil, your brain works like a fucking madman. You become unstoppable. You remember everything. Your brain is just go, 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 go. It's very, very alluring for someone who is narcissistic and concerned with their own intelligence. I mean, Provigil is the wonder drug, right? That's what we crave. And that's why I don't take it. I know, I take it when I do long drives. My narcolepsy is why I have it. And it keeps you awake and focused. And that's great. But man, it's tempting to take for every day. But I don't. Because I like it. And I'm on guard. I'm on guard against shit that I like. Because I don't have a particularly addictive personality. But man, if you like something, it's oh yeah, just pop a Provigil every day. I don't know. It's not, that's whatever. But yeah, the Addy products, very, very curious if it's all natural, no side effects. I'd be very interested. What is it? Just like a shitload of caffeine? All right. Anyway, speaking of ADD, back to this. Okay, go away. Here we go. Rekieta moves to dismiss on the basis of Colorado anti-SLAPP legislation, claiming that Colorado law is more substantially related to Quest claims and that this lawsuit is frivolous, intended to chill Rekieta's speech. It is absolutely frivolous and intended to chill my speech. Absolutely. Both Quest and Rekieta have submitted flurries of evidence, almost all of which indicate that they were engaged in a vulgar online shouting match. Oh, yeah. That's just an online shouting match in general. Both called each other abhorrent names and made rude jokes at the other's expense. Welcome to the internet, baby. However, very little of the evidence on the record relates to an actionable claim of defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, or negligent infliction of emotional distress. That is a very bad line for Montegraph. Right there. The record has very little evidence related to those things. That's tough. Even so, claims of pedophilia are serious and are treated by Minnesota courts as a matter of defamation per se. Now, this is an interesting line. There's basically one case about this, and it's about, I believe, a police officer called Pete or Pat the pedo. Everybody called him that. And he had problems with his case too. But a lot of jurisdictions disfavor the idea that a mere accusation of pedophilia amounts to defamation per se. In many jurisdictions, they specifically say it doesn't. Now, Minnesota has scant case law on it, and that case law is old. The reason people called that guy that, by the way, is he was older and his bride was much younger. Although she was of legal age, I believe. But people called him that due to their age disparity. So the courts at that time found that pedophile was a defamation per se. There's a lot of argument right now that society doesn't treat pedophilia as defamatory per se, right? They're trying to become a protected class and all of that stuff. Like I said, lots of jurisdictions don't agree with that. But right now, that is the case law in Minnesota as far as the one case where it comes up. Whether or not that'll matter in this case is irrelevant. At this point, it doesn't matter. So here we go. Colorado anti-slap legislation does not apply to the present case, and Rekieta is not entitled to summary judgment on Quest's defamation claim under Minnesota law. We'll get into why. Further, while there's currently a lack of evidence to support Quest's claims of intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, that's a bad line for Quest, a lack of evidence, it is improper to grant summary judgment here because the window for discovery has yet to close. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. And again, I'll wait till we actually get to that section to talk about why this part is so weird. This is the weirdest part of this case. Therefore, this motion is premature, and Rekieta is not entitled to summary judgment on Quest's emotional distress claims. So this is, of course, the premature aspect of it can be brought again later at the close of discovery, as mentioned in the summary. While summary judgment is improper at this time, it may be reconsidered once the parties have had the opportunity to adequately develop the record. I would argue we have had the opportunity, but we'll see. We'll see. Both parties. Now, here is probably the most devastating line of this opinion for Montegraph. This makes Montegraph's case exceedingly difficult from this point on. Both parties have achieved relatively significant success as public figures on the internet. So a public figure question is a mixed question of fact and law. If Montegraph is a public figure, is a much higher bar to winning a defamation case, because he has to then prove that my statements had knowledge of falsity or a reckless disregard for the truth. There is no evidence that I have any reason to believe that anything I said about Montegraph was false. It's all based on stuff other people have said about Montegraph for a decade or longer. Montegraph being a public figure makes this case exceedingly difficult to win. In fact, outside of the Johnny Depp case, there are very few people who win a defamation case as a public figure. So that is a really tough line for him. Let's see. Quest received attention for creating, directing, and publishing videos online through his YouTube channel under the name Montegraph. He also goes by the online username of October Reigns. His content ranges from potentially satirical and ridiculous to unsettling. Rekieta is an attorney who also produces content that discusses topical legal issues in the form of pre-recorded videos and video streams. Rekieta describes his content as commentary that aims to be both informative and comedic and compares it to late-night shock radio. While creating this content, Rekieta drinks, employs coarse language, slurs, and makes off-color jokes. Yeah. Yeah, I think those more than the other stuff. Quest admits that Rekieta's content focuses on hyperbole and comedy. That, again, is a big, big problem. I mentioned that when we reviewed the complaint originally, that admitting the hyperbole and comedy aspect of this is kind of an issue for Montegraph. In his amended complaint, Quest identifies 6 instances in which he alleges that Rekieta made defamatory statements. First, Quest alleges that on October 6, 2022, Rekieta was a guest on a live stream, that would be Megan Fox's show, in which he made various false statements of a sexual nature about plaintiff. Okay. Quest additionally claims that Rekieta appeared in a video published on October 13th, 2022. I think this is on mine, which he accused Quest of pedophilia, asserting that he enjoyed sucking little boy cock. I think that's about accurate, at least. It's pretty close to the quote. In the same video, Rekieta stated that Quest should probably be shot in the fucking head. I mean, I'm not alone in that opinion, I don't think. Then calling Quest a child molesting fucking faggot. Bit harsh but fair. It's just fun when you get to have judges write stuff like that in an opinion. Shit. Quest further claims that Rekieta appeared in a video published on October 18th, 2022, which the host presented an image of Quest with guns pointed at him. Now that's an interesting, okay. That's an interesting wording, and my brain is fuzzy on how this happened. I remember the video, but it says Rekieta appeared in a video in which the host presented an image. Was I the host? Might have been on my live stream. I didn't make the image. It was someone in locals or something. I don't know. Quest with guns pointed at him. In another video, which I'm not aware at all that would ever be defamatory or intentional infliction of emotional distress. That's insane. In another video published on October 28th, Quest asserts that Rekieta accused him of making a snuff film involving a minor child in which Quest threatened the child both with sexual abuse and physical violence. Yes, that's referring to the Umbrella Man. And that has been a topic of discussion on the internet for quite some time. Extremely controversial. Quest knows that this is controversial. In a 5th video published on December 22nd, 2022, Quest claims that Rekieta referred to him as a retard, challenged him to file a lawsuit stating that Quest's reputation was so poor there could be no damages. Yeah, I think that's true. And I'll show you kind of one of the big problems that Quest has with this. It's related to damages. Finally, Quest claims that Rekieta further referred to him as a retard in a video published on January 11th, 2023. Now, again, that was my ADA provided retard. And I've got to say, like, as a testament to myself, that's one of the funnier jokes I've ever said to be put in a lawsuit. That the Americans with Disability Act enforcement arm assigned me a private retard. That got put seriously in a lawsuit is one of the funniest fucking things that I've ever seen. Like, that's hilarious to me. Holy shit, that's funny. Oh, I gotta take a moment. You know, speaking of comedy, one of the guys on my list to talk to, I don't know if I'll ever have a way to do it. I would love to do direct examination. And a comedian I'm going to strongly recommend you guys check out. He's kind of new to me. I've watched all of his specials that are on YouTube. Matthew Rife. Matthew Rife is a fucking hilarious comedian. Please check him out. He's someone I'm definitely going to reach out to. I would love to do direct examination with him. Very funny guy, Matthew Rife. Anyway, Sorry, I just watched his show, his most recent special the other day, and it was great. Oh shit, the amateur iconoclast says, I think I know what the problem is. The judge is a William Mitchell College of Law graduate. Their alumni are not known for being the brightest bulbs in the box. Oh shit, you bastard. Oh my God. Feynman V says, check out our new business for all your ladies' bath time suds, bath-fx.com. Bath bombs and shower bombs without extra chemicals. Great for people with sensitive skin. Thanks, Nick, for the inspiration to do it. Wait, you made a business because of me? That's cool. That's cool. Wait, you do bath bombs? Oh, buddy, I'm going to look you up. Love bath bombs. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, back to this. Whew, we're almost, oh shit, maybe this is actually a good time. This is a good time. Marvin the Martian, no, my law school did not get closed down. It merged with another law school that had like 40 students in it. So it went from William Mitchell College of Law to Mitchell Hamlin College of Law when it merged with Hamlin. So yeah. But the best part about that is, I'm like, well, you changed names. I'm not donating money to you. Fuck that law school. I love people bring up my law school as like an insult, as if I would have any pride in any school I ever attended to get something. Sorry, no room for pride in my life on educational achievements. It's never been a big priority. It was a hurdle. It was a hurdle. I was not a stellar student, never have been. Do I seem like someone who would be? No. No, I'm an asshole. That's always been to me like a weird insult. Like, go be proud of your law school. I went to night school 2 hours away because it was the only one that had a schedule I could do at the time. I applied to one school. I didn't apply to any others. I didn't want to go anywhere else. So it was fun. Most of the professors were abject losers, in my opinion. I had a couple that were really funny, really good teachers. There's one really good teacher. He was amazing. Most of them I don't like. So, okay. We're going to read the rest of the chats here, and we're going to move over to Rumble. BR17 says, why do pedos get lighter sentences than murderers? It's a good question. We treat murder as something far worse than anything else because it's the ultimate deprivation of rights. But I think I discussed this with someone. Who was it? We were talking about the death penalty for pedophiles, which is not currently allowed under Eighth Amendment jurisprudence. Even though I think DeSantis is trying to implement that. It's not currently allowed because the claim is that the state shouldn't have the right to take the life of someone unless they've taken a life. I would argue that the amount of damage done by a pedophile to someone is actually taking a life. It makes a new life, but one that is perpetually broken. Did you guys see that Larry Nassar, the Olympic gymnastics doctor who like molested all the underage Olympic gymnasts, he just got stabbed a shitload by someone in jail? And it was allegedly because he talked about wanting to see the girls play at Wimbledon. So the guy's like, fucking disgusting monster. Stabbed the shit out of him. He's alive though. He's alive. Okay. Heyoka says token support for the underdog. Oh, thank you. Wait. Killer King says it's over. Nothing is over. Andrew Valdez says, if I wanted to make pixel art of you, where would I send it to? Also, do a pose for a sec. You want pixel art? You want a pixel art? Oh, give me a second. Let me pour some whiskey, and then I'll do a pose for you. I gotta get the glass. Gotta get the glass. Here we go. Wait, should we do it this way? Cheers, buddy. All right. Super Sentai guy. Please, a toast to my dad, Special Forces Recon Marine. Had a mild heart attack, then a quadruple bypass. He's home and expected to make a full recovery. To your dad, may he make that swift and full recovery. May his recovery be a healing that is greater than the condition he was in. May it spark any sort of motivation necessary for him to take as much care of himself as is possible, be there for his family for as long as he can. Cheers to him, his great achievements, and the love of his family. Patrick O'Brien says, hey, Nick, I wanted to ask about a rumor I heard that Medicare had passed away a few weeks ago. I hope it's a troll. Jim has been on post on the Fediverse, so I assume he's not dead, unless someone else has taken over and become Jim. Would you ever know? No, I think he's on Fedi and he's still alive. Was wondering if you knew anything about it. If he's dead, can we have a few words? Jim is not dead to my knowledge. I've talked to Jim a couple times in my life, but I don't have contact with Jim. I would love to. I think he's one of the funniest people, very insightful. I would love to meet him privately and like find out his whole life story, because I'm gay like that. I like to do that. But no, I don't have any means of verifying any of that or anything. You know, I've just talked to him a couple times on the internet. That's it. Seems like a cool dude, but no. But from what I understand, he's been posting about Ralph. People have asked about Ralph and stuff like that. Look, Ralph and I have buried the hatchet. He said a lot of fucked up shit about me, about my wife, whatever. Water under the bridge. Like, life is more important. And I know people like don't like Ralph and they're reveling in his spiral and all that shit. I don't actually revel in that. You know, I think Ralph had a history of behavior that caught up with him. We all do at some point. And his caught up with him really fucking hard. And what I hope the most is that everyone in this situation ends up safe and that the result is the best for the kids involved, whatever that may be. And for Ralph specifically, I hope for deliverance from his demons, and they seem to be pretty strong. So, like all joking aside, it's really tough. But I think that's what Jim was commenting on the other day. I don't know if he comments much on the Fediverse. I haven't been on there in a while. Cheddar 2648 says, Donald Trump, don't trust YouTube. YouTube is asshole. YouTube is asshole. Longreach Jones, glad to finally catch a stream after a long time. 1 year of law school down, 3 to go. It's fun being twice the age of the other students. I knew you were, because you're definitely an alternative student if you're doing a 4-year program. 89% average, so still kicking ass. That is actually awesome in law school. Law school is graded on a curve for most people. If you don't know, and if your college doesn't inflate grades, having, above a 3.0 average is really nice. So keep killing it, King. Kimberly Ashcraft says, Matthew Rife is the best. He's hilarious and smoking hot. Your hair looks really good, Nick. Different cut. Love it. It's a similar cut. It's just a little shorter. But yeah, no, I love my barber, but I was kind of frustrated because he does tend to cut it shorter than I ask him to. But then I looked at it and I was like, though, looks pretty good. I like it. It's like halfway between neo-Nazi and the long hair that I had. But thank you. Milwaukee Larry says, what's up? Why are you not showing up to court and getting misdemeanor? Because the speeding ticket? Dude, I was speeding. It wasn't much to defend. I was definitely going 80 in a 65. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't really feel like going up and making a big stink out of it. I'll pay the ticket and move on. Fun times. All right. There we go. Australian law school is 4 years. Oh, okay, cool. And in the US, it's 3 years, but if you do like a part-time program, it's 4 years. Okay, but that makes more sense. I didn't read the A before the $sign. All right, that's it, YouTube. If you want to follow the rest of the show, you're just going to have to show up on Rumble. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to pop over there. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Really terrific environment. Pollutant 1983 says, can we get a toast for Atari artist's father who passed in 2020 and for the mother who passed this past Sunday? Yeah, Atari artist. A toast to your mother and father passing very, very close together, which is devastating for you. Hopefully peaceful and encouraging for them, as those of us who believe in an afterlife believe they will be rejoined there. May they persist in eternity, harmony and bliss, free from the cares, struggles, and stresses of the world, to love each other forever. Cheers to them. All right. Ryan Acorn says, have you ever heard of a real person moving on from or getting past being murdered? Other crimes can be terrible, but they aren't as final. Ryan, I understand what you're saying. And I will humbly suggest that for some victims of sexual trauma as a child or as an adult, they would prefer not having to move on. As awful as that is, and as much as I don't like suicide or the idea of premature expiration for people, they would prefer to not have to move on, because it's a pain that they will live with even if they move on forever. So, all right. What the fuck Wednesday no longer exists. It no longer exists as an automatic show segment. I may bring it back. I brought back the Chill Friday streams in some form. When I first came back from vacation, I did not like being constrained to specific things. But I like What the Fuck Wednesday. But I found myself like scrambling to find topics. And then I found myself just relying on locals to give me topics. That was lazy. Like, I got really, really lazy for a number of reasons, but those reasons don't matter. Again, I've talked about this plenty of times. Before my vacation, I was exceedingly stressed. I was depressed. I was in a bad spot. I was relying on liquor to get me through shows. I was saying very embarrassing things and disrespectful things to people that I care about deeply. And I used crutches like What the Fuck Wednesday and the Comedy Fridays to not prep for shows, to not do the work that I need to do as a streamer. And I decided that wasn't good as a streamer, and it wasn't fair to my audience. So What the Fuck Wednesday may come back, but it's not coming back until I am sourcing at least a main portion of the content, rather than just scrolling through locals lazily and seeing what other people found. But yeah, I loved the segment, but it got to the point where, again, I was relying on a crutch. And I don't think that's the right thing to do as a professional in anything, is to rely on someone else as a crutch. So I love the segment. I want to bring it back, but it's all in due time. So, but again, look, if your goal is to like get under my skin with criticism, I mean, go for it. But as much of an asshole as you guys may be at various times, like, I'm an extremely hard critic of myself, and you probably can't make me feel worse than I already have. So, cheers to you. I love you anyway. I mean, it's fine. Again, I'm an asshole. I game, respect, game. It's good. All right. With that, we are moving to Rumble. I'll see you over there in 20 seconds. It's in the pinned comment. It's in the description on YouTube. Catch me over there for the rest of the show. If not, I love you. I respect you. I'll see you tomorrow. One thing. The Taylorship business trial starts on the 24th. And I do want to go through that. There's also another trial going on that started, I think, today or yesterday in Wisconsin. But a guy who's allegedly entered an old woman's home and forcibly raped her, and he's representing himself. And someone sent me a clip of like some of the testimony and shit that's in there, and it's wild. So I'm really, really busy this week. I've got a kid going on a mission trip really soon, and I'm trying to get them ready and reconciling for me that one of my children is going to be away from me for an extended period of time, which is nerve-wracking as a parent. Very, very nerve-wracking. This week, I don't really have time to delve into a trial, but I might next week. And if I do, even if this trial like progresses We may do makeup streams and get into it either over the weekend or something. Cause like self-represented in Wisconsin is a winning one. It's a horrific crime, but the guy's self-represented. So, it's going to be just fucking crazy. So someone sent me that. I'm very, very interested in it. The Chandler Halderson trial was not live. And so it could be the topic of night shows, or we could maybe catch up to the trial and do it live. Depends on how my schedule looks. But I know a lot of people have been asking me to do a trial, and frankly, like, I love and hate them. They're a ton of work. They're very stressful. They're hard because I'm away from my family all day during the day, and then I still do night shows. But they're really good for the channel. People really like them. They're good for income. I'm not like gonna lie about it, but you stream for 8 hours. A lot of super chats come in. It's something I can do on YouTube and Rumble specifically. Have both of them on the full show, and yeah. So I am looking to do those, but I believe the Shabusiness trial, which is the chick who cut her boyfriend's head off while on a meth bender while having sex with him, presumably pegging him. I think that has to be the case. That's on July 24th. So that is high on my list. I'm going to try and clear my schedule. I've got some other stuff going on. It depends how long that trial goes, because I do have to travel at some point in there, taking my whole family on their Christmas trip from last year in August. So we'll see. And then we got Matsuri, of course, in there as well. But with all that, definitely looking for another trial. I know people like them. It's not that I don't want to do them. I mean, I don't want to do a shitty trial, because some trials are fucking boring. But Daryl Brooks is funny, right? The Shabusiness one is salacious as hell. So anyway, but yeah, I'm looking to do one. It's really hard to line them up with my schedule. And then finally, Lefty Lull says, I think you know who I am. I think so. Changed my YouTube name. But anyway, just wanted to grift my channel. Don't worry about golf. Oh, if we get to it, we get to it. But you got stuff going on. Good luck, bro. Dude, I know I am desperately worried about golf. You know why? Because I never get to play, and I want to. I want to badly. So we will. I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to. I'll talk to you soon. All right, guys. Here we go. See you guys over on Rumble. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen,